Good evening, and welcome to Mountain Lake Files. Tonight's story is a rather shifty one. Strange things happen in the mountains at night. Deep down in the valleys, mysterious noises echo through the darkness. Terrifying howls travel from hill to hill. Something is roaming through the night. Animals disappear from farmlands. The random things left out in the yard at night, buckets, rakes, clothes hanging on a line, are knocked over or even destroyed. The folks who live in the hills hide in their homes. They know what it is. Whenever anything unusual happens in the night, whenever mysterious calls are heard, they say that it's the Wampus cat. They say that the Wampus cat was once a beautiful Cherokee woman. Her husband would often leave the village with the other men to go out hunting and bring back food. Before each trip, the men would gather in the woods to ask for forgiveness for the lives of the animals they were about to take and seek supernatural help in their tasks. But women, you see, were forbidden from ever seeing these sacred rites. But this woman's curiosity consumed her. She wanted to know the secret magic. She begged and begged her husband to reveal the rites to her, but he always refused. So one night, as the men set out into the forest, she took matters into her own hands. The woman wrapped herself in a cougar skin and quietly crept through the woods. She came upon the clearing in the forest where the men had gathered. She hid behind a rock and watched. Finally seeing the secrets she had so long desired to see, she crept closer and closer to the men in the circle, wanting to take in every detail, until she got too close. The sorcerer leading the ritual spotted her and immediately saw through her disguise. The men of the tribe grabbed her and dragged her into the circle. As punishment for breaking the taboo, the sorcerer cast a spell on the woman. The cougar skin she had wrapped herself in became her own skin. She became a strange mix of a cougar and a human, and was cursed to live in the forest alone in the woods, never again enjoying human company. And so, the Wampus cat roams the mountains at night, traveling up and down the hills, in and out of the valleys, forever wandering, ever alone in the mountains. There are some that say she steals animals or ruins things on the farm. She's acting out of her anger and resentment for being cut off the rest of mankind. There are some who say that she will roam the mountains forever, lurking around the places where men live, but never able to rejoin them. And so, whenever those strange cries are heard at night, whenever something gets disturbed in those little settlements in the hill, whenever an animal goes missing from the farmland, the mountain people know who it is to blame. The Wampus cat is walking through again. In Missouri, they call it the Wampus. In Arkansas, it's the whistling Wampus. In Appalachia, it is just the plain old Wampus. A half dog, half cat creature that can run erect on all fours. It is rumored to have been seen just after dark or right before dawn, all throughout the Appalachians. But that's about all everyone agrees on. In non-Native American cultures, it's a howling evil creature with yellow eyes that can supposedly pierce the hearts and souls of all those unfortunate enough to cross its path, driving them to the edge of insanity. Cherokee folklore, which is filled with tales of evil spirits lurking in the dark, deep forests that surround their villages, offers a different view of the Wampus cat, an evil demon called Iwa. The spirit of madness had been terrorizing the villages of Etowah. Depending on the version you hear in what is today North Carolina, the village shamans and war chiefs called for a meeting. The wise shamans told the war chiefs that sending the braves to hunt and kill the Iwa was surely going to be the end of their tribe. For the Iwa had the terrible powers to drive men mad with a glance. The war chiefs argued that the Iwa could no longer feast on the dreams of the Cherokee children, and that something must be done. Together, they agreed that their strongest brave would go alone and bring great honor to the family and the tribe. Standing Bear was the strongest, fastest, sneakiest, smartest, and most respected brave in all the Cherokee Nation. And he was chosen to do battle with the demon. As he walked from his village, the shamans blessed him, and the war chiefs gave him many fine weapons with which to slay the beast. And on the edge of town, his wife, Running Deer, bid him a final farewell. She would never see him again in the same way. Weeks went by, and there was no word from Standing Bear. Suddenly, late one night, the stricken brave came running back into camp, screaming and clawing at his eyes. One look, and Running Deer knew her husband was no more. With time, he would be able to pick berries and work in the fields with the young girls and the unmarried widows. But he would never be any good as a husband again. And by Cherokee law, that meant he was dead. Standing Bear's name was never again mentioned. But Running Deer had loved her husband, and she wanted revenge. Running Deer went to the shamans, and they gave her a booger mask, a bobcat's face, and they told her that the spirit of the mountain cat could stand against the Iwa. But she must be the one to surprise the demon. The war chiefs gave her a special black paste, which they rubbed on her body. It would hide her scent as well as her body. She kissed her farmer husband on the forehead, his black eyes staring, and headed off to seek her revenge. Running Deer knew the woods as well as she knew the village, and she ate sweet berries to keep up strength over the many days. But still, she came across no sign of the Iwa. Then late one night, she heard a creature stalking down by the stream. As she crept slowly toward the creek, she heard a twig snap behind her. She spun, and just as suddenly realized how quickly it could have been the end of her. Behind her, a wily fox darted across the pathway. If that had been the Iwa, I would be mad now. The widowed Cherokee woman thought to herself as she continued towards the creek. At the end of the creek, she saw footprints, which did not belong there, and her farmer husband's breastplate lay at the edge of the water. As she followed the prince downstream, she saw the demon. Its hulking form lurched hideously over the water, drinking from the pristine mountain spring. The Iwa hadn't seen her. Running Deer crept ever closer, and just as she felt she could bring herself no closer, she sprang. The Iwa spun and saw the cat spirit mask and began to tear at itself as the spirit of the mountain cat turned its powerful magic back on itself. The Iwa tumbled backwards into the pool, and Running Deer immediately turned on her heel and ran as fast as she could back to the village, never once looking back. But she arrived home, singing a song to herself, a quiet song of grief for her husband, but also of joy for the demon's banishment. The shamans and war chief declared Running Deer the spirit talker and home protector. Some say that the spirit of Running Deer inhabits the Wampus cat, and that she continues her eternal mission of watching her tribe's land to protect them and their peoples from the demons that hide in those dark and lost places.